who's filling in? Hey, we were talking about doctors and the things we like and dislike about them. And the thing we like, in case anybody's listening, and of course the people that are tuning in on my webpage or on the YouTube, thank you, YouTube page, you can hear this while we're waiting for the Facebook Live people. And that is one thing that serves a doctor well, is to give lots of information. People, hey there, people need to know that, the information, knowledge is power.
Yes.
You need to know why you are doing these things and why they think this way. And nobody likes to be talked down to or made to feel foolish or to be scared. And if you're scared and you have pain, you're going to have hurt worse. And it's just really good when you find a healthcare provider that doesn't say, I feel this, that, or the other, just that, or this test shows this. They need to say, this is why, and to be helpful and explain. Maybe they can say things like, I've seen other people in this situation, because maybe it would be helpful to know that this person has done this before. It's just, it's really hard and scary. We were talking about this because James, my husband, had some pain issues, and we were talking about how good his doctor was to really even draw a picture, explain why the particular thing that was hurting was probably the thing that was hurting. And you had an opposite experience because your doctor didn't make you feel hurt or whatever.
Well, it was an eye doctor, and I'm really weird about going to the doctor. When I get inside the belly of the beast, as I call it, I get kind of weird. But anyway, they just start dropping things in your eyes, and it's stuff that they do all day, every day. And I get it's no big deal to them. But it's a big deal to me, and you need to tell me what you're doing.
People need to remember, providers need to remember that they need to remember that.
Yeah.
And, whatever. But once you do find somebody and you like that person, you better hang on to them too.
Yeah. Like
and that's something that's making me mad. In our town, Mission has taken over everybody. And good luck if you don't want to be part of that system. And all these doctors that James and I both have gotten attached to, Dylan's doctors and some of his, they're gone. They're gone because they can't work for Mission for various reasons. And it's like, you want to get a doctor that's going to take care of you for good if you can.
Yeah. And
it's hard to get somebody to take care of you if they're not being paid properly, or they have to, one provider, because they have student loans like they all do, but they have to work in a non-profit place. They can't work in a for-profit place in her particular circumstances, which enraged me when I actually heard the words for-profit and healthcare in the same sentence, to be honest. But that's a whole nother story, and I'm not going to go there, except to say it's wrong. But anyway,
I was just looking at what Tracy wrote there, that she's coincidentally having the same kind of issues with doctors right now, not understanding her, not listening. And it's about anxiety, not pain. And boy, let me tell you, Tracy, I've been to doctors for help with anxiety. I hope you can find a good one. I'll just say that. I hope you can find a good one.
Word of mouth. Okay. One of my friends by the way, I have friends who are doctors, and I love them, and I think highly of them, and I think they're great. Just so you know, I'm not down on doctors at all. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about texting one here in a few minutes and asking them a question. But, and everything, but it's just like anything else. You got, qualified and unqualified, no matter what you do. But if you ever find one that you like, you better guard them with your life,
Yeah. Thank goodness I found a really good dentist that I like. I had dental phobia, like you would not believe.
God, I believe it, because I have it. I still have it.
Anyway, I went to see, I'm just going to say his name, Dr. Young in Hendersonville. He's a biological dentist. Love that man. He tells you every step, the thing that he's doing. And I lost my fear going to the dentist.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah, and I lost my fear going to the dentist because of that man.
And again, this goes back, and evidently we weren't meant to be talking about doctors and healthcare. Having said that, this is maybe what we're supposed to mention with this. Knowledge is power. When you know what is happening in your world, your body, whatever, you're going to have a lot of anxiety, taken care of.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Well, we certainly started out in the ditch this time.
Oh, well, that's what we do.
Yeah. By the way, did you know every time you emailed me this week with ideas that you did it under Dylan's account?
I didn't know I could do that. Oh, my God.
I kept getting these emails from Dylan, and I thought, well, that's interesting. Dylan's never emailed me
Dylan
before.
is my 10-year-old almost 11 as of Monday, grandbaby that I'm raising. He's my baby. And oh my God, I cannot believe that. No wonder there's some people who say that they didn't receive my emails. There is no tell. Oh my goodness.
Well, I thought the first few I got, I thought, well, Dylan's never emailed me before, but that's
I don't
nice.
even remember emailing
And
you, to
then
be honest. This is crazy.
And then I thought, well, Dylan, he's a pretty big thinker for his age. And then I realized it's Angela under Dylan's name.
I did not even know I could do that. Oh my God, that is
You did it all week.
I have to go through that count. There's no telling. There's probably people sitting around waiting for my email now. It's gone to spammers.
Every single thing you sent was from Dylan.
But
the first thing that you/Dylan sent me was a quote from Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I posted that on here.
Okay, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth. And I thought, well said.
I stole that from a site on the internet. Obviously, I didn't just invent that because it was his quote. But anyway, I read it. I thought that is right.
Yeah,
for lack of a better word, that is right.
And from some things that I've read, say that when you're kind of evaluated on how you have led your life, it comes down to are you service to self or service to others? There's the breaking point right there.
There you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. All right. This is Metaphysical Matters with Angela Moore. I'm Kim Clark, and we're going to start out today with a news roundup.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, because you and Dylan have sent me news articles.
I cannot believe that. That is actually horrifying to me. Okay, but go ahead.
Okay. Now, we've talked about Bigfoot before several times, so we're not going to go way down that road. But the Bigfoot Festival is taking place this weekend here in Marion. And you sent me a news article, and there's been a new Bigfoot sighting here in McDowell County.
That was on the quote, as my papa used to say, big news. This morning it was on Huffington Post. I am not kidding you.
That's where I printed it from.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I sent it from there to begin with.
It was originally reported by, I think, WCNC in Charlotte.
Oh, wait, I heard about it on WLOS.
Okay. So anyway, a recent Bigfoot sighting here in McDowell County. And I just wanted to get your take on it. For me, I'm very open and I want to believe this stuff, but I'm thinking, boy, that's awfully convenient timing right here at the Bigfoot Festival. And I'm interested in, everybody's got cameras with them, good cameras with them all the time on their phones. But when it comes to something like Bigfoot, the footage is always like blurry and, and here we are again, same thing.
But maybe they don't want to be seen. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just it. Maybe that's my guess, simply don't want to be seen, and maybe their good cameras are just not quite good enough. I don't know.
But this feels,
I don't know.
It feels authentic.
Yeah, it felt pretty much right to me. But I will tell you, the thing that got me, and I've never been a Bigfoot person, I am a big-footed person, but not a Bigfoot person. Okay. But actually, my feet are not big. But anyway, I have felt that maybe there's something there ever since I was young. I mean, like a kid, I even remember, really young girl, I would think that maybe there's something there. I had no trouble believing there's something there. But what and how, it's like I almost get a pushback from it.
That's what you're telling us
Almost like I'm not supposed to know.
Yeah.
But the point of this, I actually had a point. I forgot what it was. Don't tell me. Wait a minute.
Bigfoot doesn't want to be photographed?
No. Oh, no. Was when we went to a thing, and you and Ellen actually showed up at the thing where they were having a meeting, but that's how all this got started here.
Yeah.
And they were talking about their individual stories.
Yeah, it was in the national.
I swear I can't talk today.
It was in the National Forest there at Old Fort, and there was a pretty good turnout for it.
There was.
And it was really cool. These people had come from all over. There were some people from out of state who'd come to share their stories of Bigfoot type encounters. It was really neat.
Well, at the festival last year, and there's so many people there. All our hotels are filled up and everything else. It's just, oh my goodness, that's great. That's great. Business is good for people. People make money. That's great. But anyway, it's just so unusual, to have that happen here. But anyway, what was I talking about?
Bigfoot doesn't want to be photographed.
Speaking about doctors and medications, somebody help me, okay? My memory, I swear, it's like I can't stand much more myself. While I was uptown at that festival, I got it now. I met a little lady who was waiting in line. I might have told you this already.
I think you did.
Well, so I won't go into it, but she had an encounter when she was young. I did tell her, just that's all you need to know. She had an encounter when she was young. And then hearing all those people down there talk about theirs, that's the part that engages me. And I think they're going to do a thing like that tomorrow, maybe at 1 at the courthouse lawn, but I won't swear to it. You'll have to get your own itinerary if you're going, because that could be wrong. But that is the part that gets my attention when ordinary folks who are smart, decent, have jobs kind of people, and they will tell you, this happened to me, and they tell you in a way that you believe that. And I feel that is very engaging to me. I like to know what people experience.
Oh yeah, that's much more powerful than hearing, some academic talk about it in a hypothetical way.
I've come to a decision that has nothing to do with nothing.
Okay.
We recently painted the kitchen, as you know, and I was going to tone it down from the yellow to grays to make it all classy, which I did, but then I went unclassy and started painting little chefs everywhere. I'm looking at 2 doors I did not paint anything on, and it's just decided I can't have that because that would make it like nicer than I need it to be. I have like nice. I got to have like gone up. I'm going to paint a pig. I just need you to know that.
I'm for that.
There. I want to paint a pig.
All in favor of the pig.
It's going to be black and white because I got roosters and I got chickens and I got chefs because I'm not having one theme. I'm not that kind of person. I'm going to have a black and white pig, and he's going to be sitting there, and he's going to be looking down at this table when we do this job right here, and he's going to be smiling. And every time I get forgetful or every time I get bored or whatever else I might get, I'm going to look at Piggy, and I'm going to feel better. I'd share that with you.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Cool. It's interesting that you're talking about your memory. We talked about discussing this before. It seems to me like everybody is having memory lapses. I have them.
My clients are having them.
Yeah, and yesterday I went to the radio station for a while, and everybody that I talked to had a moment of going, oh, wait a minute, what was I saying?
It's happening with my clients, and I'm thinking, okay,
what's
it's
going
catching.
on?
It's a virus. And then maybe it is like a psychological virus that's going around. Maybe, I don't know.
I just wonder if our reality is so...
it's shifting all the time. So it would not surprise me at all to find that, in fact, there is stuff happening out here in the ether that's filtering in, that's causing us to lose our grounding. As you know, I just got through talking with somebody with the session, because in case you people don't know, that's what I do. I paint for people, okay, but I talk to people. They call me the hillbilly psychic. And in case you didn't know that. And when I do that, I get out in space. And that's one reason I'm having a hard time staying grounded right now, because I'm out in space, okay? But I will get grounded as we go along. Now, maybe in your case, and in those people that are not doing this kind of work, they're losing their grounding as well. And maybe they're losing their grounding for a reason that you just suggested. Maybe the earth itself is pulling back its energy from the hateful people that are destroying it. Maybe that's affecting sensitives. Maybe there's a wave of energy coming into the universe just being dumped, which is throwing people off that have, again, high vibrations, high sensitivity, that's making it hard for them to maintain their balance. And I'll tell you what else. We were talking when we first came on. Okay, so a lot of people probably fast forwarded, I would have, that these people having abdominal pain. I never saw so many people. I had two emails this morning from totally unrelated people whose children are having these morning abdominal pain. And the past 2 mornings, my kid has come and said, Gigi, I'm hurting right here, really low in his abdomen. My husband is having the weird abdominal pain. Not like the boys. It's a different kind of thing. It's like, what is going on with that? So I think that as a unit, human beings, very many are connected in the ether, you might say. Psychic bond, maybe an invisible, unknown psychic bond that makes maybe people sensitive to certain things in the same way. Just like if you get a virus, symptoms, of a cold virus, maybe this is sort of like a psychic cold. You might say that it's infiltrating the earth for unknown reasons that maybe are not nefarious, just reasons. And maybe this is causing people to feel things in their gut. Maybe it's a reminder. Maybe it's a reminder to check your gut to see what's going on with you and what's going on around you. And I think that this too shall pass. And we'll go on to the next thing. I've always told you too. I always see clients in bunches. And by the way, it was Scorpios and Aquarians. That's us. Last few weeks, now it's went into the Scorpios and the Pisces. So if you're a Scorpio and or Pisces, gird your loins. No, actually, it could be a good thing. It could be a time for some stuff to happen in your life. Maybe if you believe in such stuff as that, it won't hurt to have that information, I don't guess. I'm just saying, I'm seeing this. Do what you want that.
That's really interesting. You talk about the physical symptoms. I have read some stuff about energy, different higher vibrational energy coming onto the earth right now. And some people call it basically ascension. And then they call what people are going through ascension symptoms. And it's manifest in your physical body, like you're suggesting.
Okay, well,
aches and pains and that kind of thing. I'm just saying I've read that.
Validate that as probably one source of the energy. Plus, you've got crazy people left and right running, putting out a lot of energy that is not helpful to a lot of people, and it's causing a lot of anxiety. So, that is not good when you have unsettlement in a people situation, whether it be in our leaders, whether it be in our neighbors, whether it be in our own house. People, in order to be okay, need sameness to a great extent. They need to have security, is what I'm trying to say. When a person's security is threatened for any reason, it throws you off. Then if you add on, things of a metaphysical nature, like you were just saying, it really can be very troublesome for people who are sensitive.
Okay, back to the news desk. The other thing that you sent me this week was, I believe you might have also picked this up off of Huffington Post, but it's been, I think the UK Express might have started out with this, but there have been multiple UFO sightings within the last few weeks in the Portland, Oregon area. And they're the classic triangular shaped UFO. That was
actually in a lot of things. I actually have a news feed that gets news from a lot of sources, not just that. It's like that's just one of many, including BBC and the regular networks we have here and whatnot. And it was in more than one. Okay. And I thought, because I wasn't going to send it, because after I read it, I thought, well, this isn't really saying anything that interesting. But then I saw it come up in another one, and I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I should go ahead and see what you thought about it, which I think that it is very likely that we, in fact, do have that kind of machinery on our own. I do think human beings are absolutely able to create and make and do stuff. Having said that, I think what they saw in the sky was not that.
Yeah, it seems like there's been multiple sightings there in Portland.
I think they see a valid, likely alien thing. I do. I'm sorry. Go ahead and cut it off now, because that's what I think. I think they see actual alien sightings. I think they come in waves. I think this is a new one. Makes me wonder if something's going to be happening on Earth, probably, but had an earthquake this morning over in Hendersonville or somewhere.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
That's a little one. Anyway, I do think that stuff is like that's happening. Okay. And I think they are here for whatever reason. But then I think we say, oh, let's not look up at the sky. Let's look down here at these things that we got going on that we're building. And let's like throw a little alien thing in there. Like maybe this was copied from alien stuff or something to make it, palatable, to make it readable, whatever. But I don't think it's related. I mean, yeah, we might have these planes. Yes, these planes may have been reverse engineered from some sort of alien craft. Probably so. Having said that, I still think you've seen something up there in the sky that is not about them. There are planes on the ground. That's what I'm trying to say. I can't make words today.
Well, it's interesting that you brought that up because I saw something on one of the websites I go to every day this morning, and it kind of feeds into this. It was an article about this guy named Richard Doty, D-O-T-Y. He was an Air Force counterintelligence officer. And this story's been out for several years, but he was in charge of disinformation about UFOs. Mm-hmm. And so they would evidently flood the zone in the media with all kinds of stories about this was reverse engineered, or we saw this crazy thing over there, just to keep it cloudy enough that people can't really get a handle on it.
And that's what you do, not to mention the thing of ridiculing people.
Yeah.
There was a My Three Sons episode. I was a kid, and old Ernie saw something, and he wouldn't take it back, and people were ridiculing and not being very nice to him about it. And then the Air Force comes out to his house and says this was top secret stuff. And, you know, you got to deny that you saw this and all this. And poor Ernie had to go on TV and call himself a liar, basically, for national security. You know, I mean, I'm a kid and I see this. Do you know that disturbed me, and it disturbs me to this day? What the heck was that about? What kind of brainwashing were they trying to do to the viewer of that show?
Evidently it worked.
It did, because here I am still afraid of, you know, I mean, that's kind of crazy, Kim.
Well, and what it does, it puts in your mind at the very ground level that being disingenuous and not being of integrity and not telling the truth is okay.
And it's not, you know, it's also, it just, I don't know, it's like nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. And I think there's everything to see here. And we're going to see it before it's over, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I did not do any research on, I see you've got your notes, and I meant to do some reading to catch up on it, which I have.
That's okay.
I forgot.
I can fill you in. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, this is Thursday the 12th, which means tomorrow is Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Is there anything real about that?
Yeah, just because of the fact that not everybody, but so many people and their brother think there is. I think that's enough to put energy out there that, in fact, could create a little bit of a rift. But, you know, obviously you trace back these superstitions and it comes back from ancient times. But I'm not superstitious. I'm not Barney Fife. I'm merely cautious. So I'm not superstitious, just cautious. And therefore, we should all be a little more cautious. But, you know, if you don't know it's Friday the 13th, you probably never know the difference. So,
yeah. Okay. Well, last week, you threw out little teasers for us. And one of them, you're going to talk about the doll in Clinchfield. But first,
yeah,
you wanted to talk about Robert the doll.
You talked about Robert the doll there. You got the notes. You know what you're talking about.
Well, you wanted to bring it up, to bring up this.
Because I have seen it subject on TV, and I've read a little bit about it, and I found it really, really interesting and scary and creepy.
Okay. Robert the doll is an allegedly haunted doll exhibited in Key West, and it's now at a museum. And Robert was owned by the painter and author Robert Eugene Otto. The artist was described as eccentric. The doll was reportedly manufactured in Germany, purchased by Otto's grandfather while on a trip to Germany in 1904, and then given to young Otto as a birthday gift. To make a long story short, the doll started to exhibit supernatural abilities that allowed it to move, change its facial expressions, and make giggling sounds. Some versions of the story claim that a young girl of Bahamian descent gave Otto the doll as a gift or as a retaliation for a wrongdoing. Other stories claim that the doll moved voodoo figurines around the room and was aware of what went on around him. They said the doll vanished after Otto's house changed ownership a couple of times. According to local folklore, the doll caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and a cornucopia of other misfortunes. And museum visitors supposedly experience post-visit misfortunes to this day for failing to inspect Robert.
You better ask permission before you take a picture, too. And they said that people outside that house would see what they thought was a person walking around in that room that he was kept in. And there wouldn't be nobody up there but that doll.
Wow.
And I think I'm sorry, but I am all about this. I think probably, I believe maybe I'm gullible probably, but you know, I don't think I am. I actually think I disappoint people a lot of times because I'm not too gullible.
No, you're not. I call her Angela the Skeptic Psychic.
Thank you. Thank you. That pleases my heart. But I feel like, yes, I think that doll is possessed. I want to see it, but I want to sneak up and look so I don't know I'm there.
But last
probably
week,
wouldn't know I'm there.
Last week you were saying that you felt like this is a real phenomenon that spirits can
demons. Demons are lower level energies. They are not human. It's not always like this, like opposite of angels. They are just sometimes wayward entities that are lost, and some are very mischievous. But you know, the word demon carries too much weight. But you know, there are some that are very bad too, of course. But I think they look for a home, and I think that they can take residence in certain objects, not just a doll, but boxes. You've heard of this certain box. I know you people know I'm talking about. Starts with a V, I think. And there are other things. Yeah, there's all kinds of objects. Just look on there, look it up, haunted objects. And I don't mean like, you know, where people have died and their spirit might attach, or part of their spirit might attach to a couch or to furniture or whatever. People do have that experience all the time from thrift stores and
Yeah,
yard
yeah, yeah,
sales.
yeah.
They bring home things all the time, and these things, are could they have entities attached to them, broken off bits, or just a lot of energy, just plain energy infused in them, and they can have attachments that are scary. Put salt on it. Salt fixes a lot of stuff like that. But or sage it and salt it. Ask your angels to help, even better. But there are certain, I think, entities that are very, very bad, and people who are knowledgeable and or have gifts maybe can keep those things. And people will say, well, I might take that and burn it or something. But that's like sometimes the worst thing you can do, because it releases that entity that's actually being contained.
Oh, yeah.
And some maybe burying it might be a better thing. Or in Robert's case, put him in a museum. It put a lot of signs up to give people warning, and don't be disrespectful. I mean, people do. They'll go in, they'll make fun, like I'm so brave, it's so silly, and people aren't going to do that. They might actually be afraid and being silly about it. So, what they do, and then they end up having ghastly bad luck, not the usual run of bad luck, ghastly. So they're sending little notes of apologies, which are also sticking up all over the place.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. I love stuff like that, though. I think there's something wrong with me, but I do.
Okay, tell us about your doll in Clinchfield.
Oh, God, one of the many dolls. Okay, I went through a spell where I was wanting dolls. And my mama always, I say my mama, I talk about my step grandma that raised me. Oh, thank you, Kelly. I don't know why you would feel that way, but yay, maybe I got something good.
Yeah,
coming.
Kelly says, does anyone else feel just really happy about and for Angela today?
It's because I'm wearing lipstick. That's why.
It's the lipstick effect.
It is. What was I talking about again?
The doll in Clinchfield.
Oh, yeah. What about it? I don't know.
We want the story.
3 or 4. I had this urge. I had to go around buying dolls, and I did. I don't know why. I mean, there were collector dolls. My mom always kept them. I was trying to say that, I forgot. She always kept one on her bed, a baby doll, and I always kept pajama doll on mine. But I loved them, and I just always have them. I still do. And so I don't know. I just had this mood. I just had this feeling I needed to get one. Or get some. And the 3 out of 4 I really liked. The 4th one, I don't know why I bought it. I did like it, but it was something about it just made me a little nervous. And I'm gonna skip ahead and I'll go back. Turns out later there was a male entity in that house that left. We were able to move him along. Okay, we felt that he was keeping the spirit of a little girl in that house. And there's a lot of stuff to this that it's just, I'm not going to go into it now, but we do believe that there was a man spirit. I heard him clear his throat. My son was a little kid when we bought that. I grew up in the house, but then I bought it back. I saw him when I was little, and my son, who knew nothing about that, he saw him, described him the same bald guy. Heard him anyway.
Wow.
We feel this man was actually keeping the spirit of a little girl in that house for moving on. Anyway, he got moved on, all is well. But I think I might have been influenced by the spirit of that little girl. I believe, because that's what happens to me. I get influenced by other people, and I don't realize it because of my nature, the way I am. I feel I was buying for her. Anyway, and when we left, that doll fell and was broken, and I was secretly glad because I felt afraid of it. And then I ended up giving the other 3 away to some girl who collected them because I just felt like I was done. And I think it's because she moved on. Now, years later, I've got some that I have bought, and a couple I inherited from. I only got 5, I think. But and I love them, and I think they're all a little bit haunted, but I'm good with it. But going back to what we were talking about there, her face would change. People, not just me, you, and where is she? That Harlequin, she saw it. And I think there were some other people that saw it too. You could look at her face and it would just start getting weird, and she would look angry. Just angry. And I would feel, when I looked at her, uncomfortable. I just felt uncomfortable. And I remember you and I had just started kind of being friends and not just client and all. And I remember I cried one time after you left because I thought you were never going to come back again because you were afraid of me now and afraid of everything because you saw it move. You saw her face move.
What I remember is that she looked like she was going to cry. Is what I remember.
She would look sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was really pronounced. And I mean, it's not something you can just say, well, maybe if I look in the right light. It was like this doll was crying.
You would see it. You would see it.
I do remember running out of your house. I can see why you thought I wasn't going to come back.
And you probably should have not come back, to be honest. Probably would save everybody a lot of trouble. But no, I'm glad you came back. Yay, don't leave again. But yeah, I do think these things can absolutely happen. And right now, like I said, I think this morning I was looking at one of mine. I'm sitting on the shelf where I can look at them, and I think that I actually thought she looks a little sad today. And I thought, I wonder if I'm feeling a little sad, and maybe she's reflecting. I didn't really think I was feeling sad, but maybe, because I've been worried about James and whatnot. I thought maybe, but I did notice it. I did. But I don't feel creepy. I don't feel weird. I feel fine with it. And there it is, the end.
Let me ask you, this is kind of an oddball question, but you're talking about spirits can inhabit, dolls, obviously. I have a concern about, as artificial intelligence becomes more and more developed and more part of our lives. We already have artificial intelligence in our homes, but artificial intelligence that looks like a human. I'm thinking,
you're terrified by that. I am like, I cannot wait to get my new manservant. I think it's going to be awesome.
Do you think, and could
I'm serious as a heart attack.
But could that also be an avenue for something to occupy one of those?
Yes. Maybe that's us. Maybe we were a biological unit. That's all we are, And in my opinion, our higher power put the soul into these biological units to experience this life, and we've messed the heck of it up, and now we're paying a penalty for it by living the lives that we do, which is hard work of being human. And for you, somebody invented the aliens that you think put us in here, so what's the difference? Somebody put us in here, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're just biological units. So what's the difference? That one is made of biological material and one is made of that. And someday maybe we'll be their God creator. And I do think that they are a threat to human beings that will probably wipe us all off the planet at some point, maybe very soon. Maybe I saw the Terminator one time too many, but I think it is a very true and real and present danger. I do. But until then, I still want my manservant.
It's interesting that you're saying what you're saying, because I think before I've talked about Dolores Cannon, this woman from Texas who did all this hypnotherapy. She developed this technique to take people into other realms, mm-hmm. not only their lives, but other realms, but past lives in particular. Mm-hmm. And she had more than one person who actually remembered another life as artificial intelligence.
Wow, I did not know anything about that.
Absolutely.
And that's very interesting.
Yep.
But like I said, intelligence is intelligence, whether it's ingrained in. The difference is being that I think our soul was deposited here by a higher power. We were supposed to, I think, know the difference between right and wrong. And I think we do know the difference between right and wrong. But unfortunately, we don't tend to follow what is right because we're too much about what feels good right now than rather what is right. And I think that's led us down the garden path one time too many, maybe.
So
our arrogance has killed us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, we're already dead. We don't even know it yet. And it's because of humans' arrogance.
Did you see what Sky mean? See what Sky wrote?
Well,
she believes everything Miss Angela says.
Sky is too kind. A little bit too, but thank you, honey.
Okay, now I want to get to some of the notes that you sent me via text. And again, I get these texts all week, and I just write the stuff down.
Thank you, Kelly. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, one was about, and we've talked about this a little bit, people smelling strange smells in their house, like what the meanings of those might be specifically.
Yeah, okay. Traditionally, if you smell something like nasty, it's like associated with a very bad spirit. Now, personally, I don't see why a deceiver spirit can't give you a good smell, whatever. But having said that, traditionally people do associate, if you get a nasty smell, there's just a nasty entity around, and maybe it's associated with it. So we will know. Maybe actually our bodies, if they're not a higher level deceiver spirit, can recognize. That was not, by the way, some sort of psychic magic thing. There was there was a gnat went by, and I just thought I'd try to catch it. This is not magic at this point. Although, I did this because I talked with my hands, and my kid actually said, Gigi, and he said, no, I can't, it can't be. He says, but I swear, I know it couldn't have been, but I saw sparks fly off your fingertips just now. And he was like really confused by it because he saw it, but he says he couldn't have seen it. Anyway, I thought that was interesting and have no idea what I
saw. So maybe we've all just gotten some kind of gift.
Whatever. Yes, there you go. And it was all due to the gnat. But yes, bad smells associated maybe our bodies do perceive this evilness at some level and create a bad smell to remind us this is not a good thing you're feeling right now. But yes, we associate the better smells, like roses, usually people will associate with higher level beings like angels and stuff, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have an office uptown, which is a whole nother story. Actually had a group of girls come in unexpectedly, and there was a good smell. Oh my God, it was the nicest smell. It's like the kind you just want to roll around in naked if you can, because it's that nice. Don't put that picture out of your mind, okay? But it was so good. But it would actually, while we were sitting there, it was moving around the room, and then it kind of sat on this one girl, basically, made her kind of freak out. She got up and went out, and as she did, we could all smell it. It's like she just dumped it on herself, it was that strong. But I didn't get a sense of evilness. I got a sense of maybe mischievousness. Now, having said that, and this has happened a lot of times, say you have a relative that was a big smoker and they've passed away, then later people have smelled smoke, that specific smoke. I smelled Estee Lauder not too long ago, and I'm thinking, hey, Ruby, that's Ruby. I know that
Right.
smell.
Your aunt.
I think she's visiting, and I'm very tickled about that. So there's some sense we might associate with certain people. And, I think your nose, it's like attached to a memory, and it's like all these things that go in your brain. So I think it can actually be a very powerful way of getting information, psychic information, to be honest. And, when I had that house over in Clinchfield, no, it's a different house. I've moved a lot. I've never left the county, but I've moved a lot. I left the county once when I was 18 for 2 months. That's about it. But there was a time, Jesus, it's going to be this way all freaking day.
Smells.
See, I know I'm talking that people are not paying attention because I forget. I said, no, what was I talking about? And they look at me like that deer in headlights thing, because they don't know either. It's like, what are we doing here? But anyway, yeah, the psychic smell is a thing, and I think that you can pay attention to it. And later, when I remember what I was going to say, I'll interrupt and tell you.
Okay. One of the things that you texted me this week was your body can be your guide to yes and no.
You sure can. A lot of times, we can be indecisive about a thing, and you can do it. A lot of people like pendulums. You can do that, but you could also do a thing. You could ask your body, because it's kind of helps you separate from yourself. And there's a technique. You can do the pendulum even easier, but somebody else taught me this. I didn't invent it, but it's been helpful. You can stand up and kind of put your feet at shoulder length and kind of, bend your knees a little bit to kind of get that bouncy little bit of vibe you get. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get there and you kind of hold your hands like this, maybe just, down here, a little above your belly button. Where it's comfy. Do not make this a thing. Just get comfy and kind of bouncy. And then kind of think about your question. Yes or no, what should I do? And as you're kind of standing there kind of bouncy, like I said, you kind of God get loose and everything. If you feel you're being pushed back, no. If you feel like you're being pushed forward, yes. Go forward, yes. Okay? And sometimes it's a way to kind of bypass, that part of your brain that's thinking too much and get to the more intuitive part of your brain that can help you make a better decision.
So it's still yourself giving you the answer, but you're just getting past all the filters.
The person that told me this says it's your guides. They push you back or they push you forward. I think it's your own being. However, who knows? Maybe it is your angels, your guides, or your dead relatives. It could be. It could be. I'm not the fountain of all information, as I have said repeatedly. Go with whatever you feel your truth is. I think it could be. It could be a guide. Why not? Could be. But regardless, it's a way to listen to your body.
This is going to get off the subject, but I was just reading what Karen wrote there. There have been big energetic shifts since Lionsgate last month when we talked about Lionsgate. And now you got the equinox energy coming in. That's building right now. All helping to collapse time, I think. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really want to hear that. That actually scared me a little bit. But, I don't know. I will have to give you a big, I don't know. Maybe as we know it, maybe.
So it feels that way.
So I will go with that, because I think that we're going to probably just travel right along. I don't know. I don't think we're ending. We probably should have a long time ago, but I don't think we are.
Okay, so that was just a little detour.
I think we're ending as we are. I think as the life as we know it, yeah, it is. And I'll be honest, I could go real dark. I'll be real honest, okay? But I'm not going to, because I want to live in light and hope, and not go into a dark place where, I don't want to lose my joy of living because of something that might happen tomorrow.
Yeah. I feel like our mode of living we've changed it. Our lives have changed so many times over the last, probably since 2001, since 9/11. That seemed to be a huge marker that just kind of changed everything. But our lives have changed. So, I mean,
I told you that was the end of everything. I told you before that happened, 9/11, to expect something right after the turn. I knew something big was coming. I've been recorded. I'm on tape, about that. So I did predict it pretty specifically, but I felt like it wasn't just this big thing. It was a big thing, okay? And I do feel that life as we know it ended that day. And everything it's like, it's just put us on a path that would not have been the best path for humanity. Let me put it that way. Mm-hmm. We are still having the effects of that, and it's going to continue. But I don't think it's right either that I think we maybe have made or will make decisions based on that event too, because it's just like we can make things happen our own way if we just make that be the cause or whatever. You know what I mean? In other words, there are people out there in this world who would like to do very bad things, and they will take any excuse they can to make those bad things happen. The end. I'm not going to say anything else about that.
Okay. But I do think our lives, we have changed paths countless times since then. And you wake up in the morning and it's just a different world than the one you were in.
Have we changed paths? We have maybe just taken a windy path that you think it was a different path, but it all takes you right back to the one you're on to begin with. That's what it feels like to me.
That's interesting.
It's more of a zigzaggy path through the haunted forest. I'm thinking of Oz.
Yep.
I'm thinking it's been a zigzaggy path through the haunted forest, and you think you're out in the clearing now, and it's just in a field of poppies, But I'm still very hopeful, and I think we all should live joyously, because the world does not need more despair and doom and gloom. It needs joy, and we've got to make decisions that allow us to live in that. And you live in joy when you are helpful and loving, and you pay any rent that we talked about to begin with to mankind. When you go into a dark place, you want to go in your hidey hole and close up. You ain't helping nobody. You ain't helping yourself. You're missing your life. You got to find your joy. The more joy you bring to the world, the healthier the world is, as long as your joy is not being like a serial killer or something like that. Elevates.
Okay.
Live in hope.
Well, going back to, your body can help you make decisions, yes or no. You also were talking about feeling decisions in your gut.
Melinda just said people having abdominal pain. We were talking about that earlier, but yeah, I'm telling you, it's crazy. But anyway, go ahead, honey.
You had sent me a text about decisions in your gut, feeling decisions in your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say about that?
That's it right there. Well, that plus people a lot of times will ask me, about where you would get your, intuitiveness. Sometimes people will have a panic attack, and they think that this means something really bad's going to happen, when really it's just a chemical reaction going on in their body or whatever. Intuitiveness may trigger a panic attack, but it's not the panic attack. So what you might find is that your intuitive hits your gut. It's like separate from emotion. It's separate from, it's just separate. I don't know how to say it. And it kind of hits you here, and it might, like I said, trigger a panic. I can tell you one time, I knew somebody's going to do something bad. I knew it. But I knew it in my head. I knew it in my gut. Then I had the panic, okay? But then there's been other times I would just start getting a sense of panic in general over a situation when it was just mere anxiety. And I think the thing is, and this is what I've been saying repeatedly, is you just simply learn to pay attention. The more you pay attention, like, okay, that feeling I had did not bear out. That was just me being ridiculous. This feeling did bear out, because it obviously did. When you pay attention, then you learn what is going to be what you need to listen to and what you don't, what you have to sort out and what you don't. Sometimes, but it's not an emotion. Intuition is not an emotion, okay? It's not. Like, look at somebody, you might think they're going to have a baby, or a lot, especially people, older people, especially people from the mountains, pre-technology times, the older people, they could know stuff left and right, sister. They just know. They can, maybe they're reading your face, that little subtle changes and stuff in your body. They know when things are happening. They know when somebody's sick, they know when they're pregnant, and all this stuff because they learn to listen. They didn't learn it, just part of who they are. We've unlearned it.
That was
We've unlearned it.
Just then when you said listen, you pointed down to your gut.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually answers a question that I had written down to carry over from last week. Sandra had said, how do you tell the difference between logic versus intuition? And right there we said.
It's a trial and error, sister, trial and error.
Okay. And Karen was just commented about the ascension symptoms that we were talking about a while ago. Just the body responding to the energetic changes that are happening on the planet right now. But I'm interested that she mentioned sleep being crazy. And I was just wondering if
that's where it gets me.
Okay, I'm having crazy sleep stuff right now. And I've always been a very sound sleeper, easy to go to sleep. But in the last couple of weeks, I've had a difficulty. And I don't know if that's just.
I think of a lot of it. It's exactly what, you and James both are extremely sensitive. And it's funny because one will have one thing and the other one will get the same thing, and you don't know it about each other. But I've noticed this, that you both seem to be cut from the same cloth in some ways. A very strange cloth it is too. But however, cloth I enjoy very much. That I do think that you are so sensitive to the vibrational changes of the planet, of the people. And I think I'm more grounded a lot of times, and I'm not supposed to be, than y'all are. Maybe it's because I'm hanging on for dear life too, because I have to, because of what I do. I can't be helping nobody if I'm floating off in space.
Yeah.
I am the one that keeps you two on Earth. I just now realized that. There you go. So anyway, I do feel, and he's definitely had sleep issues, that the changes, the vibrational changes of the planet will affect certain sensitive people in various ways. But oddly enough, whatever that way is right now will probably be the way it is for everybody right now. Like it's everybody abdominal pain, it's everybody's sleep disturbance, whatever.
Okay, you also sent me a text, and this was funny because I had no idea what she was talking about. And I got a text that said, butter is not what you use for a burn. And I texted back and I said, well, now apple cider vinegar is good. And I had all these other home remedies because I'm the queen of home remedies. And then she texted back and said, no, that's for the show. So what the heck is that about?
Well, actually, that was for this, but now I got the thing, and it's probably what I should be blogging. I'll probably blog on it later if I think about it. But I see this all the time. Somebody gets a wound. They get an injury, and then they want to make that not hurt. So they go and let's just say people get a burn, and they want to make that burn not hurt, right? So they want to go put butter on it, and they think that's the thing that fixes it. But it doesn't. It actually makes it worse. Okay, it's not what you want to do. It might feel good for a minute because it's cold, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it actually can spread it and make it much worse. It's not what you do. That's old news. Don't do it. Look it up. It's wrong. Don't do it. But people will sometimes because it feels good. But what you're really doing is making the injury worse. And then, what you got to realize is sometimes when we have heartache, or we have bad things happen in our life, we want to do things to make it better, to heal it, to make that hurt go away. And what we think is a balm for a wound is actually a poison. And it's actually making things deeper. And I think I was thinking about that because I do see too much heartache. Kim, I see too much heartache, people hurting people, and it just kills me. And then sometimes I see, people, and I've been here and done it myself. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm probably worse. You think, well, I need to do this or I need to do that because maybe it'll make my hurt go away. Maybe it'll make things better. Maybe it'll make somebody love me again or do this or that. And what they're really doing is just setting herself up maybe for more heartache, when sometimes you just have to sit with the pain and know it's going to get better. Sometimes you just have to know this is the way it feels until it don't. Anyway, that was just something that was on my mind. You can feel free to disregard it.
Well, that feeds into a strategy that I've seen discussed about how to deal with any kind of pain or injury, and that is don't resist it so much. Let it flow through and do the healing, and then
I said, sometimes you just have to sit with it.
Yeah, that minimizes the suffering.
And then you hear me in your head telling you, it gets better. It gets better. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, we're about at 50 minutes, which is usually what we shoot for.
I am not believing that.
I know.
I swear that.
And I had
time.
I had a bunch of other stuff. See, we told you time is weird.
It is.
I had some other stuff, but I think it'll take too much time.
Hit on it so we know what we're going to talk about next time.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about a technique that you taught me a while back about making soul contact. And I wanted to talk about the difference between the left eye and the right eye and that kind of stuff.
Okay,
So,
you'll tell me about the difference between the right eye and left eye, because I do not know that, although I want to say the right eye is directly to the soul maybe. But I actually was reading about that soul contact. It was weird. It came out the other day, only it's hallucinations they're talking about. It was an article. Did I send you that?
No.
I was just reading that. It came up on one of my news feeds.
No, I just went off on a tangent yesterday.
That is great. We're psychically linked. I've said it for years. But there was an article came up that said people can have not a hallucination, but a trip, not a trip. What do you call it when you have you can have a hallucination, and that's not the word. What do you do when you take drugs? What do you call that? People are wanting to have a LSD kind of thing.
I don't know. You said it's not a trip.
Well, it's a trip is a word. It's an experience. It's like when you eat mushrooms and you have that kind of thing. And they said you can do it without drugs. And what you do, and I read it, and it was like, that's what I, call soul contact. So, yes, I also have always said that if you do this too much, it's really a hallucination. I've said that. But who knows? Maybe it really is a soul contact. And maybe it's also something that it's on how you use it. It's on how you look at it.
And if you don't know, it's basically you're just looking in one eye of the person that you want to have the soul contact with. We did it a long time ago and had a freaky experience. And we can save some of this. And I tried it one time in the mirror with myself. And that was not a good idea.
I did that too, and it's like less than about 2 minutes. And to be brief, I'll tell you, just since we're talking about it, she can talk to you more about next week maybe. But you just sit with somebody like a couple of feet away. You kind of just gaze into their eyes or to their right eye. I don't even remember now, so I remember. But you gaze into maybe their eyes or right eye, whatever. You don't stare. You don't like stare. You just gaze into their right eye, because that's supposed to be a pathway to their soul. And you just kind of sit there, and then when you do, you kind of let your mind go blank. Their face will change very often, and things will happen, and you might be seeing their past lives. You might be. Oddly enough, when I had done this with people, they all saw the same thing in my face, which was kind of weird, that they would all see the same. So maybe there is. I think maybe there's something to it. But you don't want to do it more than 10 to 15, no more than 10 minutes, because it's after 10 minutes, I think, that it actually does start to be a hallucination, a trip, you might say, where you might be just getting some weird stuff happening.
When I did it in the mirror, basically the end result was I had a terrible headache. And it just made me feel, I felt really bad. It's very strange.
Maybe you were going someplace that you were not ready to go, or isn't appropriate for you to see. I actually started doing it, and I started seeing the same face everybody else saw, which was a man with a beard and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, I just rather not.
Yeah. Okay, well, in closing, I said I wanted to share this because I thought this was so funny. And I find this all the time. That whatever it is I think I need so badly, I'll go to the store, like I got to have this one thing to, as a home remedy, or this one thing to do this task. And invariably I get home and I realize the thing I really needed, I already had. That happens all the time. And what I thought was so funny is it's been a few weeks ago that one of the regular viewers here on our live stream recommended a book to me. And I said, okay, I want to find that book. And it's been on my list. I got to find that book. Couldn't find that book. Last week, we were propping up this laptop to do the show. What was under the laptop? The book that I've been looking for.
I didn't even know I owned it.
She didn't even know she had it.
I can't remember things
And I was looking for it online, and here it was right in front of our faces. As a matter of fact, the day that it was recommended to me, it was holding up the computer. So anyway, there's that.
Pretty cool.
All right. I think that's it.
Thank you all so much, and please keep those cards and letters coming.
BR549.
Because I really, really love it when you all let me know that you're interested and you want us to keep going, because like I said, I will keep going, till we're done. And we may not be done if you let us know that you're actually interested in watching. And if you're watching this and want to see more, go to my website, AngelaFayeMoore.com. Or just Google Hillbilly Psychic, and you'll find them on there or on YouTube. And you can see all of them, including maybe a few other little things on there that I do.
And be sure to let us know if there's anything in particular you want us to talk about.
Yeah, let us know because we need to know. So we do what you want us to do.
All right.
All righty. Bye, y'all. And we're going to take a minute. I love it when I say bye and you got to keep doing it. It's like, keep hitting this. Okay. And end. Maybe. There we go. We'll be here for 5 minutes more. Just trying to
We
end.
should start keeping some